Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a good morning. I'm having a odd morning. It's we just had daylight savings time and Luna appears to be off. I'm having cold coffee this morning. I'm not in my typical routine to get my day started. So let's talk about adjusting and how to get yourself started back and getting things done. So anyways, good morning to you. I'm one of those people. Oh, I'm one of those people that can drink hot, cold, or even room temperature coffee. I like it all. Doesn't bother me. I shouldn't say it doesn't bother me. I actually enjoy it. It's I'm one of those few people that can do that. It's like I think they said that like 11, 12% that can do that. So if you're like that, like me, you're one of the smaller minorities. My wife likes it hot. It is not unusual for her after she gets it out of a hot pot of coffee and she drinks about half of it, she'll take it over to the microwave and stick it in for a little bit more. I never do that. So this morning, I have a lot of things that have gone off kilter, unusual. And that is not unusual. There's a lot of times you get into your work or you've got somebody that's visiting or something goes wrong, something breaks, something unscheduled happens. Uh, in the software stuff that I do, we typically call that unplanned work. I know that's a common term, but I'm just saying I'm very familiar with it because it's unplanned work. Um, we used to, one little company I worked at, we used to have sticky notes on the board, and it would be here's what we want to work on, or here's what needs to be worked on. This is what people are working on, and this is what's in checkout, where we're making sure that what they worked on is actually ready for to go out to production. And we, in order to have management better understand our productivity issues, um, we had different color notes for planned work and unplanned work. And unplanned work would be something like, hey, we need this one customer needs this change your report because they want this special thing. And that's part of the sale. We can't get the sale through unless that's on the report. Okay, so can you jam that into the next release? Okay, so we would create, after we got that started, we had our chief of operations come in and he was complaining because a lot of the plan stuff was not getting done. And I loved his facial expression when we came over, explained to him why the sticky notes have different colors, and then we showed him the stack over the last month of unplanned work versus planned work, and it was more unplanned than planned. And it was very, I mean, he was no dummy. He knew that unplanned work was actually cause more churn, it's more difficult to get back on track. It's sometimes not the best thing to be working on for the long term of the company. So it was a eye-opening experience for him. And then he started pushing back a little bit on getting his unplanned interrupts to the dev operations. All right. So the reason I said all that was unplanned is not unusual. But let's talk a little bit about getting yourself back on track when something like that hits. So I'm no, what kind of expert would that be? Efficiency expert? Hmm, I don't know. Probably probably some HR term for somebody that consults in and has you optimize your time and stuff like that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about my personal way of doing it. Uh, the way I typically get started back doing stuff is I will, if I can, I will set a timer, 20 minutes usually for me. Can vary for everybody. For me, 20 minutes is pretty good. 20 minutes, I'm going to do work on this, or 20 minutes, I'm going to do this. At the end of 20 minutes, I will, uh, at the end of 20 minutes, I will go and do whatever. But 20-minute timer is very helpful to me because it allows me um, that is just enough time for me to get something done, and it's just enough time for me to ignore anything else that's going on, because I can tell myself I will take care of anything else after that 20 minutes is up. I have Post-its that I usually put somewhere, like in my office or at home. I've got a board. If something comes up that's not has nothing to do with what I want to do in that 20 minutes, I'll write it on a post, just stick it and keep going. Um, so for 20 minutes, I can really work on something, and then I stop. I like to time that stop as well. It's harder because there can be a lot of, uh, you know, part of that stop may be you need to go talk to somebody about something. And talking with people, you don't time box your time with them. You want to, you'd like to, but that's not how we humans work. You, uh, we, we need to be polite as well as efficient. So, but in typical, I try to do 10 minutes. So that's typically what I do. I 20 minutes, then 10 minutes. What's going on? What do I need to do? Oh, what time is it? Oh, okay. When's that meeting? All right. I'm gonna go get some water. Go by and see if Larry's got the new. Uh, he's going to meet for lunch later, and then come back and then work for another 20 minutes. Now um, that works really well for me. Everybody needs to try their own stuff, but let's just take the concept of blocking things out. And remember, I said I put the post-its. If you work on something and something distracts you, You can't just remember it. Don't just stick it in your brain. Pull it out of your brain and stick it off to the side. This is important because your brain is smart, very smart. And your brain knows I need to take some of his focus and hold it on this thing that he wants me to remember. If you take that and you put it on a post-it, I'm using a post-it. You can use anything you want. You put it in a to-do list or into an app or whatever you want. Try different things. I used to have a really good app that worked really well. It went out of business, so it doesn't work anymore. And I was if if I knew I was never going to find one like it, I should have wrote my own, but I didn't. Anyway, so try different things. But the critical thing is get it out of your brain. And your brain will say, okay, that was important, but I know he will look at the post-its when he's done. So I don't have to pull part of his brain off to the side to remember things. I can let go. I can release it and let's focus back on what we want to get done in the 20 minutes. Keep those two things in mind. The idea of 20 minutes, one thing, anything in between, post it. And I typically can get through something. And at the end of 20 minutes, I've got something. And I get going slower and slower and slower. So, like today, it's not been going great. There's nothing wrong. Nobody got hurt. It wasn't like an injury. Nobody's been in trouble. But and Luna did get I threw balls to Luna, so we did our throw. But when she came out, you see how it's kind of gray, cloudy out? She doesn't want to take a walk today. Why not? Because it's not sunshiny. It's been raining, overcast. She's not a big fan of rain and thunder. She doesn't freak out. She used to freak out. Now she's pretty good. I mean, of all the dogs I've owned, and I've owned some great dogs, she is the best thunder dog I've ever had. She comes up, she stays near me. She's not happy about thunder. She will actually do some rough rough at me. You do some rough rough? Yeah, she's looking at me like, what are you doing? I heard you say something. She will she'll make a let me know that there's thunder outside. But then after that, she kind of lays there, and you can tell every now and then she's a little disturbed, but she doesn't shake, she doesn't shiver. She lays there next to me, and then when it's over, it's over. Very impressed with her as far as thunder is concerned. Not saying she's a super brave dog, period. She's got a lot of. She's a very anxious dog in many other respects, and this being one of them. It's overcast, so just in case there's rain or thunder, let's just stay home, Dad. Stay at the house. So, yes, he's, he's a good girl. All right. Thought I'd just talk about. I don't even know what the title of this thing. Better figure that out pretty soon here. Uh, I'm gonna maybe call it uh, getting back on track, time management. I don't know. Is it time management? Anyway, that's what I'm gonna title it though. I'm gonna call it Getting Back on Track, Managing Your Time. All right. You guys have a good day, and I hope you find a way to get your derailed times back online. We'll talk to you later.